Every music video I'd ever seen before this was just like, the band will look awesome. And we came at it from a perspective of like what you would do on stage. Like, how do you keep someone's attention for this long? And it gave us this opportunity to go chase weird art projects and be like, well, we're in that video band, gotta make cool art projects. Hey, I'm Damian.
I'm Tim.
We're OK Go, and this is our music video playback. My favorite of our music videos is our most recent, Love. I kind of always love the thing we've most recently done. It is a very ambitious idea. There are 29 robots, 60-something mirrors. It took months and months of planning and 3 weeks on set in Budapest in a train station to film it. But we've usually been in warehouses or on film stages or like my backyard. And this one, being in this like the faded glory of this beautiful old building, really did something for it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I will say that I think this one is more emotional than anything we've done before. It has the same sense of spectacle and sort of like absurd ambition and like burst of joy visual tricks, but hopefully it also tugs at the heartstrings in a different way. For me, I know it does.
There's also just an elegance to this video that I feel like this is a sort of like a culmination of everything we've done in the past.
That's me dancing with these 10 robots. If they run into anything, they stop. So we could do all of this without fear of being nailed by a robot.
We were very safe.
But here's what the video is really about, is mirror tricks. That's just 2 mirrors, one on each side of my head, being held by humans. There's nothing about this that people couldn't just do at home. And then there's Tim, same 2 mirrors. And I just can't believe that like this is what a kaleidoscope is. It's just 3 mirrors. And watching them come together this way gives, I don't know, like we're in this completely psychedelic world that feels like a digital effect, but when you see that that's really how it's made, just blows my mind.
And those are pool noodles making the colors behind it, which is crazy.
Right. So one of the important things I think across many of our videos is that we try to use stuff that's really familiar. We want all of the color and props and everything to be something that you viscerally and quickly understand. Like to use a traffic cone to make bright orange and white stripes appear in a giant circle, like your brain does something different when it goes, oh my God, that's just a traffic cone. Like, it's so easy to get lost in the sort of visual magic of the mirrors that we had to kind of ground you all the time, being like, no, it's just real stuff. These are pool noodles. These are pool floaties. There's like anything we could find that was bright and exciting color-wise, but also really recognizable and really sort of humble. None of this is crazy filmmaking magic or a custom-made thing for this. It's just a traffic cone.
A relatability to it.
The lyrics to the song Love are about how the emotion of love for me changed when I had kids, that you spend your entire life exploring this, what feels like a very generous room love. Like so many kinds of love and so many people you have loved, and you get to know this thing really, really well. And then you have kids and suddenly there's a whole new wing that opens up off of it, and it is immense and insane and so familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. And we wanted this video to have that same feeling, that you take 2 simple things, put them together, and there's this infinite explosion, this magical, impossible new dimension that pops out of it. And hopefully we got that. The hardest part about this is not anything about the mirrors or the optics, it's getting people to throw balloons in at the right time and make sure it stays like suitably chaotic in there.
Yeah, there's balloons, tennis balls, colored paper, soccer balls.
Soccer balls. Nothing about this video is supposed to be about robots. It's really about human connection. But the mirror tricks that you can do for that human connection require better hands than humans have. To be able to move it like this, to get that kind of choreographed movement, that you need a robot for. It was just like, it was a real pleasure to figure out a way to get like a human emotion out of these robot tricks. Those huge stripes of color back there, pool floaties.
Pool floaties, that's an umbrella spinning.
Who's spinning that umbrella, Tim?
Oh, well, that's me spinning the umbrella.
Beautifully spun.
Thank you. So you've just come out of mirror suit pit crew.
Yeah, pit crew. Well, I mean, this part to me is like, I feel like everybody kind of has one of these mirror suits to sleep in, so sure. I'm glad we left this in, but I know for most people this is kind of what they're used to seeing all the time.
Of course, of course.
Those suits are made for street performers, and they're pretty great in a mirror room. So that's our video for Love. It's still sort of like the 4 goofy dudes dancing, but hopefully with more elegance and more emotion than you'd see in something we did maybe 15 years ago. All of the spectacle and the sort of excitement of discovering these visual tricks is still there, but hopefully in service of something that feels as romantic and as personal and as sort of heartstring tuggy as the song does to me.
It is called Love.
It is called Love.
I wish I could tell you it would all be fine. It'll all be just fine.
This is the second to last one we made, which took an incredible amount of time also. Much smaller crew, just the band and basically 2 people for almost the whole time. I mean, this is like 2 months of pre-planning that was all done pretty much at my house.
Yeah. Testing ideas for this took a very long time. There was a lot of rendering that had to happen in order to process any one simple idea or complicated idea.
Basically, my brain at least can kind of think of maybe 2 or 3 rectangles at once. Like if you have half a face here and the other half a face there, you're gonna see a full face. But trying to think of what happens when you have 14 or then 42 different screens working in concert, it was just past what my brain could do without literally testing it. So we would shoot 5 or 10 sort of pieces of something and then have to put it together digitally to see what it would eventually look like when we put it on all these different phones. Most of the time, we found that our ideas were boring. Like it's a lot like writing a song. It's like you put 2 pieces of sound together and hopefully you get something that's not just a third sound. We just had to test and test and test and test. And a lot of times what you think will be really exciting and emotional winds up being like, oh yeah, that kind of thing. But every once in a while you stumble into something that's like, wow, that makes me feel different. And then you know you got something. This part, the question for a lot of this video was like, would people be okay with it looking kind of crappy through the whole beginning because it was shot off of a phone, off of a phone, off of a phone, off of a phone. You get so much degradation in the image that we didn't know if it would just like turn people off right away. To make that spin like that, show them how fast you have to go. What looks like it's going spinning is like you're barely moving.
Yeah.
Because each one has to move within the next one. You and Andy were doing the tests, and the first version you did was like, yeah, let's go like that. And it's unwatchable because the one on the inside is like there's no shape to it.
Also, pro tip, don't record the sound while you're doing it. It just gets more and more degraded and
Degraded. Love it.
degraded.
Degraded. There's
Yeah.
These things, they'll be what they will, what they will.
But I'm so happy when we get past that into this like really glorious mosaic of moving parts. And look at all these yellow Tims. Hello, yellow Tim.
Hello. I love all the wires here. Remember, we weren't quite sure we were going to include that in the shot.
With this video, it's really important to remind people it's a physical thing all the time, because we're just so used to digital trickery and filmmaking trickery that most of what we're doing with an OK Go video is trying to prove to people this really is a real event. Like, don't suspend your disbelief like you would when you're watching a film. Be in the room with us. Know that this is a real thing. That, by the way, is why we usually shoot things in a single take. It's not like a stylistic affect. It's just a way of getting people to not watch it like a movie. We're all just so well trained at like understanding narrative and going like, okay, well, I know this isn't really happening, but it's a cool story, and we want people to like actually know what happened. For the Stone Only Rolls video, the biggest influences were other places we had done any split screen tricks. So the video for All Is Not Lost, which has many screens of dancers shot from below, was a big one. We've done a bunch of optical illusion tricks that rely on a similar overall perceptual things.
Just want to see some pleasure in your eyes. Some pleasure in your eyes.
The sensitivity to making sure that people could really feel this, it comes from, we had done a video for a song called WTF, where we were playing with a sort of a digital effect, essentially.
Right. It was a single take with one digital effect on it, where basically we shot it against a green screen and everything we did didn't erase. So you sort of paint with your body. And we did learn from that one that no matter how much of a trace you leave for people to be like, this really happened, if it just makes cool psychedelic stuff, people kind of just go into a world of being like, oh, cool, something neat and psychedelic. The film nerds went crazy for that one, but the general public was like, oh, cool, an effect. So that was like a good reminder, like, keep it physical. We did not start out thinking we would be filmmakers in any way. We certainly didn't have any sense of what our style or parameters or how this would work would be. We didn't even really think of them as videos. Like, the sort of first thing that ever went viral for us was us dancing in my backyard. It was a stage routine we were doing because we were sort of snotty enough, like indie rock kids, to be making fun of boy band routines by doing one on stage, by being like, no, we're gonna do this ridiculous thing at the end of a show, and you can't be a hipster. You have to get on board and love this. The rehearsal of that in my backyard was filmed just to show a filmmaker how ridiculous we are. We made it just for Michel Gondry. We were like, please make a video with us, see how ridiculous we are. That one little love letter to him, we gave it to some friends, somebody put it online, and it went viral before YouTube, on a download site, like before streaming was even a thing. We did not think of that as a music video, and in 2006 or 7, like, streaming wasn't a thing yet, and so anybody who like watched a full 3-minute video on their computer, it was probably a nerd, right? Like, and we had these new wonderful nerdy fans, and we were like, well, let's make a really, like, they love weird, ridiculous things, let's make them something weird and ridiculous. And we made the Here It Goes Again video. I think at that point we sort of considered it a music video, but we never expected MTV or VH1 or anyone to like take it seriously. When it exploded and you know, we got it won all the awards, and the music industry was suddenly like running scared from YouTube, and the whole world moved really fast. And I remember thinking, okay, now that we're a one-hit wonder whose one hit is dancing on exercise equipment, we get to decide what to do about this. Like, and that was when we started thinking about, like, do we run from this and act too cool for something so ridiculous, or figure out really what was awesome about this? It was something about like that homemadeness and the bringing people into the room for a really ridiculous and exciting event. That set us off on this path of figuring out what we find interesting in filmmaking. And it's been 15 years of growth since then. It was like one day MTV was God, and the next day YouTube was. What's amazing to me is that this sort of humble, weird thing could be part of such a big shift, because if you made this now, I'm sure people would watch it, but like, there are now Madison Avenue firms dedicated just to gaming the algorithm of TikTok. Like, there's no sort of like, hey, we're a bunch of dudes making weird stuff that just kind of like finds its way into mass culture in the same way anymore. And so we're really lucky to be at the right place in the right time. And then to have it teach us about our own art, because after the success of this video, when we went in to make our next album, we had a completely different perspective on what mattered, because it was sort of like, oh, great, we're never going to say no to our weirdest or our most personal ideas. It's been a real revelation to find ideas that have that emotionality built in. And it feels like cheating when you find one. Like, slow motion feels like cheating. You pop a balloon with water in it in slow motion, and it already feels elegant and gorgeous and lifted and emotional. So our job is not to like make something awesome, it's discover all this awesome stuff and then just do all the work of making sure it can fit into one sequence.
Therefore the grace of God go away.
I'm really proud of the one moment because it feels to me like it has the homemade craft and the kind of like, we just discovered this through play feeling, but it was like one of the first times we really got that emotional core into what we were doing. The one moment was difficult because we didn't get many chances to do it. I can't believe I thought this way, stupidity. I was just like, slow motion, that's cool, right? But a bullet in slow motion requires a very different speed than water falling in slow motion. Like, gravity works at one speed and bullets work at a completely different one. And so through all the testing and play, we realized that this video has to be at 20 different speeds throughout it. And so we have to plan everything, shoot it at one speed and then vary speed it later to figure that out. And because we're working at all these different speeds, we have to get everything right in 1 or 2 tries.
Yeah, I mean, this scene, I remember being able to sort of practice the marks that like we were hitting there, you know, and practicing the lip syncing.
Yeah.
So open your arms to me, open your arms to me.
The short moment of you lip syncing was roughly 3 times slower than reality.
Right.
It was fast as we could get the audio where you could still
Yeah.
kind of lip sync it.
I remember practicing at that speed and filming myself to see what my lips look like, because there was no use in trying to actually say the words. Like, I just had to move my mouth, you know, to try to make the shape with my mouth and hope that it looked like that's what I was saying.
I remember also that we had to get you used to the sound of the explosion so you could still do it.
Oh, yeah.
I remember having to like scream bang in your ears. And like once you've exploded, what was it, 16 or 24 gallons of paint across the set, you don't get a second shot.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, so flinching doesn't work for this.
No.
You can't flinch at that stuff.
So when you met the new you, were you scared? Were you cold? Were you kind?
Something we're always playing with in our videos is like how much you're watching with your brain versus with your heart. When we write these songs and we make these environments for people to feel in, like the primary thing is just like, we just want you to feel. Like, just to never cross the line to where you're thinking too much about how we made it. We want you to like, oh my God, how'd they do that? But mostly because you felt it first. And it's a line we're always kind of walking, is like, when does it get to be just an intellectual trick versus something you really feel?
Can't stop until you feel it go down.
I'm Damian.
And I'm Tim.
We're OK Go, and thank you for watching.
So I'm sure we're going to end the video on like one of the many great statements or like an interpersonal moment between the two of you guys. So
We should start making out.
yeah.